Hey everybody, how's it going? Today I'm going to be showing you how to set up your eToro account, what is eToro, and how to do your first investment. So to start off, what we want to do is we want to browse to eToro. You can just Google it by searching eToro itself, clicking on the first URL, and you'll be taken to the sign up page. Here you can log in if you've already set up an account. If you haven't, I'll just walk through how you do it. A quick way to do it is sync through Facebook or Google or Gmail, or you can set up an account straight away. So for this, I'm going to set up a brief account using some of my details. So now you'll be taken into the main page of eToro. So these are all of the high-level stocks that you can see here. This is a generic watch list of some of the highly invested stocks on eToro, including things like Bitcoin, Google, Tesla, Amazon, etc. So what happens with stocks, and this isn't just in eToro, it's in any stock platform or when you go to the stock market exchange itself, you'll see that they all have shortened, abbreviated names. An easy one here is FB for Facebook, or TWTR for Twitter. Things get a little bit more complex when you get into things like cryptocurrencies, because a lot of their shortened stock names aren't anything to do with the actual name. So Ripple and XRP. XRP being the cryptocurrency, Ripple being the company behind it, but it can get a little bit confusing. Here you have how that stock has been doing. This is relative to the filter that you set on here. So by default it's set to 1 day, but you can set it to 1 week, 1 month, and 1 day. You can actually set up custom dashboards and watch lists, but I'll go into that a little bit later. You have a graph, which yet again is relative to the filter that you set. And then you have the current sell and buy price, and then the 42-week range. So where is it sitting over the last year? For an example here, let's use Facebook again. So Facebook is at its all-time high at the moment, 52 weeks ago, or at the lowest within 52 weeks, it has been $131 a stock. At the moment, it is $210 a stock. And then finally, you have the sentiment, which is the buying or selling ratio. So 97% of people are buying the stock at the moment, whereas round about 2.04 are selling the stock, which means they are counting on the stock going down in price rather than going up. So before we deep dive into eToro itself, let's actually talk about why this trading platform is so unique in the market. eToro is a social trading platform, and what that means is you have the ability to interact with other users that are like yourselves, looking to buy stocks, looking to buy cryptocurrencies, looking to buy normal currencies, and you can ask them questions, you can copy their portfolios. You as a professional can have your portfolio copied itself, earning a separate fee to the stock market itself, and you can really just build up a community around you for advice and giving advice. Now, the other main thing about eToro is its fantastic user interface and its mobile app. Both of these things make eToro one of the most accessible platforms out there and easy to use for beginners, and that's why we're going through this. So let's run through all of the sidebars first in order to give you an understanding of how to navigate the platform. Starting off, we have watch lists. So when you sign up for your account for the first time, you get a generic watch list with all of the current popular stocks. Things like Lloyd's, things like Facebook, things like Twitter, Apple, and Netflix. What you can do is personalize this yourself by going to My Watch List, the drop-down box here, doing Create New List, naming your list, adding new markets, and then selecting the type of market you want to add. So in this example, we're going to use stocks. We're going to use industry stocks. We're going to use stocks that are considered technology, and you'll be listed popular companies here. At the moment, we're going to add a few select stocks so that we can track them, and we can give examples of how you look at the prices and when might be an opportune moment to buy a stock. So I'm going to add Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Cisco, HP, IBM, and Vodafone. You will now be presented with your dashboard, or watch list as eToro calls it. Here you have the ability to filter on 1 day, 1 week, and 1 month, and you can see the trend of how that stock is potentially doing, some being green and some being red. Red indicating that the stock is at an overall loss over the period you have set. Next, you have the sell and the buy price. The sell price is the price in which you will sell the stock. So if you buy it for 1,000, if you buy Google for 1,400 and you decide to sell it, you would be selling it at around a $35 loss. Buy is the current price you can buy it at. This is the real world money you will pay for that stock. So if you have £1,368 or dollars, that is how much it will cost you to buy a Google stock. We'll talk a little bit more about leverage and what that means and how you can potentially get more expensive stocks without the cash flow, but at a risk. Next, we have the 52-week range, and this is essentially an indication over the 52 weeks what was the lowest price point and what is the highest price point, with the arrow representing where it currently is. So in this example, Google was at its highest ever stock price over the last year. Same with Facebook, same with Microsoft, not the same for Cisco, who is currently seeing a overall lower than average stock performance this year. HP, who is seeing an ever so slightly higher stock performance. IBM right in the middle, and Vodafone fairly in the middle as well. And then finally we have the sentiment. Sentiment essentially represents how much of the market is buying the stock or selling the stock. Most of them are fairly high in the buying, which is always a good indication. Next, you will see that you are able to discover people, and this really goes back to that social element of eToro. Discover people allows you to track individuals or eToro users that have set up portfolios that are visible to all other users. You are able to copy these people, and you will essentially mimic their trades, and we'll go into that in the next part of this video. Next, we're going to be talking about copying people. By selecting copying people here, you'll be taken to the screen which will show you a lot of eToro users that have set their profiles to public and allowed copying to take place. We're going to go into some of the editor's choice and show you how to navigate a copying portfolio, what they mean, what risk ratings are, and how you can do your first copy. So we're going to use Laurent in this example. Going into Laurent's portfolio, we can see he has been an active user for the last 2 years and is currently still investing. We can see how he is doing this year, so this is 2020, and bearing in mind we are the 3rd of January, at the moment he is currently making a loss. He has made a 3% loss in January. In 2019 we can see that Laurent has made a 37.05% increase in his stock portfolio in 2019 and a 5% or 6% increase in 2018. We can see his risk rating. If it changes a lot, it doesn't. 4 is a very safe bet. And we can see his portfolio and what he trades. So he has a mixture of pretty much every type of market in here. He has stock, commodities, crypto, indices, currency, and people. It then breaks down what his most frequently traded and profitable stocks are. Oil, Bitcoin, and Tesla seem to be where he focuses a lot of his attention, although he's not that profitable in Bitcoin. And then we see his additional stats. So these are just averages. So he doesn't seem to be much of a day trader, which is good on eToro because their rates aren't that great for it. We can see that he holds for typically 4.5 months, and he is an active user, and he is profitable 51% of the time each week. If we wanted to copy Laurent, what we would do is we would select the copy button up here. We would have to put in a set amount. In this example, it is $1,000. We can set what is called a stop copying function, which essentially says if my £1,000 drops below 600, please cash me back out. You can change this by clicking edit and selecting a number that is comfortable for you. Bearing in mind that you may lose money straight away because you bought into a stock that Laurent is planning on holding for a long period of time. So I would say make sure that your risk appetite is set correctly. You don't want to be hitting the panic button straight away, but you also need to know when Laurent just isn't doing a good job with your money. What I would recommend you do is untick copy open trades. And that is because if you tick copy open trades, you might be buying a stock that Laurent bought 6 months ago at a really good price and it's currently very overvalued. I would suggest only copying his new trades by unticking this box, because then you are buying stocks that Laurent is buying exactly when he wants to buy them. Right, we're back on the watch list screen now. What we're going to do is we are going to buy our first stock. So, if you want to play around with this and really understand how eToro works and not risk your own money, we're going to go to the virtual portfolio. A virtual portfolio is a risk-free area where you can practice your trading. So, think of this as monopoly money. You have been given $100,000. You can invest this in whatever you want. It's not your money, it is virtual currency. We are going to buy some Facebook stocks. So we're going to find Facebook, which is here. We're going to click buy. We are going to set our leverage to 1, and I'll talk about leverage in a minute. And we are going to talk about the amount we want to invest. So if we put £10,000 into Facebook right now, that is 10% of all of our available balance. You wouldn't do that in the real world. And what I want you to do is I want you to treat this virtual money as your own money. We are going to put in $1,000. $1,000 will buy us 4.76 shares in Facebook at a 1% equity, at 1% of our equity. Leverage is essentially borrowing money to increase your investment. With a 2 times leverage, you will see that we double the amount of stocks we purchase for the same amount of money. But it means if the stock goes down, you will lose money twice as fast, and you will be cashed out twice as fast. By selecting leverage, you are increasing your risk, but maximizing your return. If the stock goes up 100%, you make 200%. If the stock goes down 100%, you do the math. It is not good. 5% is an even riskier leverage. So you will see that our 4.79 stocks have become 23.79 stocks for the same £1,000. So we're going to go back to 1-time leverage and we're going to open trade. We've now bought our Facebook stock. As you can see, our available balance is now set to $99,000. Our total allocated is set to $1,000 because that's what we invested in Facebook, and our profit is set anywhere around 0.4 of a dollar. So 40 cents. Why are we at a loss straight away? It's a good question, and it will happen with every market you buy. So let's explain it. If you look here, you will see that Facebook has a sell and a buy price. The buy price is always more than the sell, and that's just how it works. The difference between these two numbers is called the spread. Spread differs between various trading platforms, and it really depends on the fees associated with holding the stock, how the stock is bought, and many other deciding factors. eToro has a medium and well-recognized spread. It's not too aggressive, although some stocks are more than others. So it's just something to be aware of, and it can impact your profitability, especially if you're shorting. Shorting is where you buy a stock for a short period of time with the plans to sell it for profit, whereas holding is when you're making more of a long-term investment to see the stock grow. So, how do you sell a stock? To sell a stock, we're going to go to our portfolio, and our portfolio is a list of all stocks that we currently own. As I showed you earlier in this video, we bought a Facebook stock, or we bought 4.76 units of Facebook stock for $1,000. Here you can see the order that we made. So we currently own these stocks, and if we want to sell them, if we want to sell the stock, we simply select the cog here, and we do close. We want to close the trade. I want to close all my trades. By closing it, it tells you the total that you invested originally, your average open price, and what you close at. So if we close right now, we will have made a 50-cent loss. By closing the trade, you will know that our available balance goes back up, our total allocated goes down, and our profit adjusts. Because we only had one trade open, all of our total allocated and profit is now gone. There's nothing fluctuating here because we have no open investments, and our total available cash or virtual equity has now returned back to normal. So this was just really a short guide on how to use eToro, how to set it up, and how to buy your first stock and copy someone. My next video is going to be how to build out a diverse portfolio and really manage your money in an effective way and a safe way. So if you like that, hit the like button on this channel, give me a subscribe, and I hope to release some more videos in the near future. Alright guys, catch you later.